How you doing, guys? Evolutionary podcast coming your way, number 304. This is another coronavirus episode, COVID-19. Stevesmi here, and Rick. How you doing, buddy? You still alive?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
So we are under quarantine, so Rick and I cannot cannot record this podcast in the same room. We have to be separated. So Rick is hanging in there. He's under martial law right now, right?
I'm out of the country, and here where I'm at, they really overreacted, and they're small, not really allowed to leave the house. One family member can leave the house just to get basics or get things that are really necessary, but you can't be in a car with a bunch of people. Or
so what happens if you get caught?
Right now, they're just going to give you a quote unquote educational ticket. I'm in South America, in Colombia, guys, just in case you know. So they give you an educational ticket, and you go and take a 2-3 hour class on why you shouldn't go outside during.
So they put you in a class with other people?
Well, obviously when this blows over, you know, it goes like it goes in your thing. They'll make you do something. Like it'll be usually 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, something ridiculous like that, or they'll give you some kind of education, like they make you do something. Then you do that, like if they catch you like not wearing your helmet, riding a motorcycle, or your seatbelt. Sometimes instead of giving tickets, they'll give you an educational ticket, and you got to go in and take a class.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's something that, you know,
this town, the one I'm in, it's got about 300,000 people. It's one recorded case in the whole town, but yet they put the town on like basically from 8 p.m. till 5 a.m. nobody should be congregating or be out and about, and then from yesterday until Sunday.
So you can't even go outside and walk your dog if you want?
I guess you kind of could. It's not like they're patrolling the streets with guns. I mean, you kind of could, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not really supposed to be out and about and going about your business. You got to kind of be home.
Gotcha,
but I mean, you could. I mean, if you could be walking your dog, and if the authorities come by, they drive by, they're like, hey, what are you doing? They're like, you live right there. All right, no problem, man. Get inside when you're done. Be done. That's it. It's not like serious.
Yeah. All right, guys. So
it's being treated more like a drill than the real thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, China has really cracked down a lot because they have, Rick and I were talking about it before, communists. They have a very authoritarian, I won't even call it a communist country. It's very authoritarian. Basically, they have cameras everywhere. They track your your iPhone, your cell phone. They know what you're doing, when you're doing it, who you're talking to. They know everything over there. So they've been out.
They have social credit. You know that? They have social credit.
What's that?
Like, you know how you and I have like credit. Like if you make
yes. That's exactly right. Yeah.
They're like if you jaywalk, or if you do things that you shouldn't do, or if you're disrespectful, then you have the social score. And if your social score is bad, you don't get loans, you don't get certain housing.
Yeah,
but even something like jaywalking, you don't need like an officer to like take you to the side and record your ID. Just with your face, they know who you are from just your face from a camera if you jaywalk, and all that stuff goes against your social score.
Well, they have that there. Here we're tracked by Google and Facebook and social media apps and all this stuff. So really, you can track anyone down just with carrying around your cell phone, and they track your car too. They have GPSs on cars, so your car can be tracked everywhere too. So it's we have that here too. And I get these emails from companies and I get these things when I'm on the internet, like pop-ups and advertisements, and it's like, how the hell do you know that I'm looking to buy a car? How the hell do you know I'm looking to buy this supplement or something? And it'll pop up, and it's just like, wow, it's all analytical. So they definitely have a system. But what's happening in China is that crackdown that they did is helping flatten the curve over there. They only have 40 new cases today and 3 new deaths. And although if you look at a chart, Rick, of total cases, and you look at a chart of active, basically total cases are flattening out in China. Active cases have been dropping really since late February. And then total deaths is starting to flatten out in China. So they've really got the thing under control. And again, yes, China can be lying. You know, we all know that. They could be lying about stuff. But we're seeing companies, if you actually listen to conference calls from companies, whether it be apparel or whatever, they're actually saying, yeah, our employees, they were quarantined for like 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks, and now they're finally going back to work. So the fact that they're opening back up the factories and employees are not out sick and all that stuff means they are being successful at doing that. So that worked. So that's what we have to do here, in my opinion, is we have to start quarantining people. So let's go over the numbers. Italy, out of control, bro. 6,000 new cases today, over 600 new deaths. I mean, people there are like dying. They don't have enough grave sites. They don't have enough. People are just dying in their house, and they have to wait like 3-4 days for someone to come get them. They can't, it's so bad. Spain is blowing up, 3,400 new cases. Germany, 4,500 new cases, blowing up. Iran's been consistently blowing up. The government of Iran announced they really think like they're going to have like 1 million people infected with this thing. In the U.S., we're starting to ramp up testing. We got 5,000 new cases today, which is second behind Italy. We've had 28 deaths so far today, and we're not even finished with the day. And that gets we've had almost 20,000 cases now. We will break 20,000 cases by the end of the day because they're testing people. France, exploding as well, 1,600 new cases. South Korea, just like China, is starting to flatten out. And then you have countries like Switzerland, UK, Netherlands, Austria, Belgium, and even Norway now starting to get a lot of cases. So it's out there, guys. And the more they test, the more numbers we're going to get. The U.S., there's so many people that have it, and we're not doing anything. I just went to the post office again today to drop off a package, and nobody had a mask. There were 3 employees working at the post office. One had gloves. One lady had gloves. One guy just had a mask. And then the third person working there did not have gloves or a mask. He was just touching all the packages and everything. And remember, it was our last podcast, we said cardboard, it can stay on cardboard for, 24 hours, Rick? And so, this is just reckless. And the post office guy was actually obese, who was the one that wasn't protecting himself. So I wonder if he just says, you know what, fuck it, I'm fat anyway, so let me die. But like, it's obese people that are the ones that can't survive this. So
that's a real sexist thing to say, Steve. You gotta cut back on that.
Huh?
That's a real sexist thing to say.
Sexist?
Yeah.
That's a dictionary word.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought I just made that up.
Oh, okay. That's a good describe word. But I mean, if you're obese and you get this, you're fucked. It's hard to recover from this. So, I mean, what are you doing, people? You got to protect yourself, man. And then these beaches aren't being closed. Your spring breakers all over the place. They did not close the beaches in these spring break states like Texas and Florida. People are going in big crowds. It's a mess, bro. And, these numbers are going to keep skyrocketing. It's really, really bad. What do you think, Rick? What do you think? Because you're in a place where it actually, clamping down on it. And then here in the United States, we're not doing shit in a lot of places.
Some of the measures are fine. Recommendation education is fine, but it's a cold, a cold by any other name, you're going to get over just the same. So it's a fucking cold, guys. Okay. And, some people are dying, but some people die from the flu anyway, too. We discussed that. We should try to not get it, stay, but go about our business as best as we can. It's a lot of panic, a lot of stuff going on, and some companies hopefully will get bailed out and they won't all go to shit. But the mortality rate on this bug, it's just not that high for this to turn into World War Z right now. it's, in my opinion, like from what I'm seeing, this thing is really not just killing a ton of people out there for there to. I mean, I think some of the quarantining just killing local businesses and it's just people spending all their money and on toilet paper, which, by the way, I thought it just made sense. I never commented on it. It just made sense if you think you're going to have the sniffles, you're going to be sick at home, might want some tissue, some extra tissue, I guess. So this is why people were buying all this toilet paper. I don't know, but it just it's just not a buck with that mortality rate, and we could have just kept those at risk really safe, and the rest of us, take precautions, but keep the economy moving, keep work going, keep industry moving. And if you have to take those 4 or 5 days off from work, like some people do with the flu every other year when it catches you anyway, even with the vaccine, and you just rough through it. But I think media reaction and maybe the timing with weird stuff going on in the political landscape, it crushed the economy. It's gonna be tough. And again, if we had like a high mortality rate, if this was like airborne Ebola that could be spread through, through speaking or something, something with a really high kind of, it's going to kill half of the people. Damn, we really got to go nuts. But no, it's just a really, really bad cold, really, really bad cold. And we just needed to keep a certain section of the population safe, and the rest of us could have went on about our business. But it didn't happen that way. And I mean, there could be a different bug coming out of there every year. It's uncontrollable. It's just what's going to happen. So are we going to have a bust in the economy every 2 years when a new respiratory disease comes out of that area?
Don't you think we brung this on ourselves? It's kind of like the planet. I feel like it's the planet punishing us for destroying the planet. It's our planet's pretty much getting revenge on us, and our planet's saying, you know what? There's too many fucking people. We gotta. The planet's like, I'm gonna send this virus. I'm gonna wipe out 10%, 20% of the population to get the numbers back down, because our population, world population, is growing like crazy, bro. I mean, it can't sustain itself. You think in another 500 years, the Earth can sustain 10 billion people, 15 billion people? Because that's where we're going. I mean, I don't have any doubt.
How long?
I mean, I'm saying maybe 100, 200 years, bro. There's going to be 10, 15 billion people at this rate. I mean, people. The thing is, too,
as long as the sun is sending us all this free energy every day, we will find a way to harness it.
But I mean, fertility is dropping, which is another thing too that we talk about.
People fertility.
Yes, and I think that's the planet as well punishing us because the damage we've been doing to the planet. And there is there was a movie that came out. I can't remember the name. It was a British movie.
Fertility's dropping among like first world educated people that want a certain standard of living for their kids, and it's tough to give your kids a really good standard of living now, even with both parents working.
No. I'm saying like people can't even they don't even have active sperm. I'm not talking about like people not wanting kids. That's a different topic. I'm talking about people can't get pregnant because the man and the woman, their fertility is down. So there's less mobility. The connection with low testosterone levels and low hormones is all connected with fertility too. We're seeing guys in their 20s and 30s with low testosterone levels.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. It's going to be just another phase in human evolution. Who can live with all of this contamination in the environment? So you're going to see some people have crazy diseases where they die from them really early on, cancers and stuff, and those bloodlines are going to die out. And there's going to be other people that are going to be able to just survive just fine with all the contamination and heavy metals and all the synthetic compounds that are now just everywhere, and then bottled water and everything. So it is what it's going to be. Some organisms are going to survive. Some humans are going to survive. And then you're just going to see people dropping from weird diseases and other people living until they're 100. It just what it's going to be. The environment's going to change and it'll start to select people.
So I want to get into some of the news. Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints, has coronavirus, and he got tested. He wasn't feeling well. He went and got tested. Also, we saw a senator from North Carolina, and there was another one from Georgia, who basically were talking, saying this virus wasn't a big deal, blah, blah, blah. And all while doing that, they were selling their stock, millions of dollars of stock. The senator from Georgia, her husband is actually the chairman of the NYSE, and I actually did not know that until today. So don't you think that's despicable that these people were saying, oh, it's not a big deal, not a big deal, and all the time they were selling their stock? By the way, the stock market, since they sold their stock, is down 25-30% from those levels. So they basically got up ahead of other people. And I know a lot of people have taken out on chin with the stock market. We'll get into the economy stuff later, but that's, I mean, to me, that's just despicable. So there's a lot of people calling for their resignation and saying that they should resign and stuff. So that's another example we talked about on last podcast of selfish behavior by people. And the fact that they thought they'd actually be able to get away with it is really, really disturbing to me. What do you think about that one, Rick? You're a pro corporate guy. What do you think about that? You think that's okay what they did?
I don't know. I don't know how much inside information they really had and how that falls inside or outside of the law. I personally don't think any senator or anybody involved in government should be allowed to have any kind of private enterprise, even investments. You should almost give like a vow of poverty and just dedicate yourself to public service. So I don't even see whatever. I mean, I don't know. Whatever the law says is good because I mean, the Chinese knew about the coronavirus before the senators in the U.S. did. I'm sure they did some insider trading. Are they going to get in trouble over it? So, I mean, I don't know. You know,
I think the thing is they were saying go buy stocks, everything's okay, economy is going to be fine. All the while they were selling this. I think that's the problem with it. If because you know what I'm saying, like that's kind of fucked up, you know.
Yeah, they should and are getting the bad press for it. Good, and if there's a good legal standing to get after them for it, I hope they do. But chances are they usually don't. If you're part of the elite, you usually don't get it. So we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, I mean it's common. They shouldn't be. They have access to too much information. Probably shouldn't be allowed to be involved in the stock market at all.
The other problem is that we're hearing now that the government, the federal government, is just admitting, they're straight up admitting that they're not able to test poor people, you know, the elderly, you know, the working people. A lot of the people that are getting tested are wealthy. And remember we talked about on the first podcast on this topic, I said in a week or two, we wouldn't be testing people in the parking lot at Walmart. And I said I would eat crow if I was wrong. Well, I'm right. Yeah, we're definitely not doing that. There's a very, very few testing places around the country right now where you can actually drive through. So it's not every Walmart, every Target, every Walgreens, every CVS, like what was promised by the government. They said they'd be up in a week or two, and we haven't seen any of that happen. So all I see is Walmart parking lots packed from people going in there and buying up toilet paper and buying up water and buying up all this shit and buying up all the packaged food they can. I'm not seeing any testing. So what's your thoughts on that, Rick? What's the fact that they're not testing the poor people, and we're actually seeing people in jail getting the coronavirus, and they're basically they're fucked. You know, you get something like that in jail and it spreads among everyone. So there's thoughts about releasing some low criminals, low impact criminals. So what's your thoughts on all that news?
Low impact criminals. I think we put too many fucking people in jail as it is already. So it's good to give some people a second chance. That'd be free. That's not bad. As far as the testing, it's good that this pandemic just kind of brought out a real problem, that if this was the real deal, the airborne Ebola or something that's really going to mess things up and kill a lot of people, that, yeah, rich people seem to be able to get ahead of the line of everybody else. And that's kind of fucked up. And hopefully now that we know that it happened and that it went on, we'll be able to kind of do something about it for the next one. At the end of the day, get tested or not, you're just going to get a fucking cold. It's just going to be a cold. It's going to be uncomfortable, dry cough, and chest will be a little tight, but you'll be all right. At the end of the day, even with testing, no testing. So it's good. We figured something out, right? I mean, if you got the money, even that is easier for you to have access to something like this, like really limited tests that are available. But if they can tell you whether you have it or not, it's just going to be a fucking cold and you're going to be laid out, and it's just a cold by any other name. And flu season, it killed more people already. So
okay,
we're reacting a little bit.
So other news, they did pass a bill finally. The House passed it a while back. The Senate fucked around with the bill. They finally passed it. Like 80-9 was the vote in the Senate. And then the president signed it. He was very, very quick to sign it. And the bill says that you're going to get up to 2 weeks of paid sick leave if you're being tested or treated for coronavirus or have been diagnosed with it. Also eligible will be those who have been told by a doctor or government official to stay home because of exposure or symptoms. However, those payments will be capped at $511 a day, which is roughly what someone who makes $133,000 a year earns. The original measure called for workers to receive their full pay, but limited federal reimbursement to employers to that amount. So they kind of watered it down a little bit to get it passed. Workers with family members affected by coronavirus and those whose children's schools have closed would still receive up to 2/3 of their pay, though that benefit would now be limited to just $200 a day. So that is some relief. They're working on more bills. One of the other things they're trying to get passed is sending out a check. Basically, I've heard numbers from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 a person. Also, children getting some money. So that check would go out to. But the question is, who gets the check? Is it taxpayers? Is it people who paid taxes? Is it everybody? Because a lot of people who are like retired in their 70s or 60s and they don't have a salary. So they would get left behind. And those are really the people that need the help, because those are the people most affected by this health-wise. And then also a lot of people who may not be working, and are we going to punish them and say, well, you don't have a job, so you don't get any money? Well, if now they're out of work, then, so that's a topic for you, Rick, to kind of see what you would do in that situation. The other thing that I'm going to let you respond to that, Rick, and I'm going to bring up the other news. So what do you think about that? What do you think you think sending out checks to people would help the economy, would help businesses kind of get some stuff going?
Yeah, I'm more for giving the people money than giving it to the big corporations and the big places. So anytime you can give people put money in their pocket, they're gonna pump the economy for sure. So I'd say go. Let everybody get it, even the old people. Why not? Healthcare and the cost of living is high already. Why not give people back some money? I said, yeah, give it to the people. We're going to bail out a bunch of industries anyway. We're going to keep printing money. So might as well, right? Why not?
Yeah, what's funny is the U.S. dollar has been surging, and that's something many people don't know. Our friends up north, the Canadians, are getting absolutely demolished right now. So I don't know about printing money. I'm not sure what that means, but obviously that's not really a factor if the U.S. dollar is strengthening so much. Basically, the U.S. dollar now converts to $1.44 Canadian. So, and that's pretty absurd. That's too much. So if you have a relative in Canada and you send them $1,000 right now, when they deposit that money in their bank, it'd be $1,440 in their bank. So sending money to Canada is really, really good. But then Canadians coming down here and spending money in resorts and stuff, they're getting demolished. If they're snowbirds or something, they're getting absolutely demolished. So that's how it works. But I mean, as Americans, we don't really get affected by that. A lot of ignorant people talk about the dollar.
What do you think the impact is going to be on fitness related industries, personal trainers, gyms, supplement stores, online supplement stores, supplement brands, Amazon sellers, eBay sellers? What have you seen? What have you heard? I'll tell you what I've seen and heard.
I think, it just depends, Rick, on how bad this is. Like, I can't imagine this letting go.
Most of the people in China are back to work now.
But I mean, China clamped down. They got ahead of us. We were 6 to 10 weeks late on this. If we had clamped down from day one and went through some pain, China went through a lot of pain when they clamped down. They shut factories and everything. If we had done that from day one, we're just now doing that. They just shut down factories in Ohio, auto part factories in Ohio, Michigan. They just shut them down 2 days ago. We're still, airports are still open. People are still congregating. The post office you walk in the post office, be right up on someone. We're not doing shit to stop this thing, bro. So, I mean, comparing us to China, you can't do that. This shit's going to keep spreading. So if this thing keeps spreading, I don't see these gyms or yoga studios anything reopening.
But Steve, one thing you have to realize, and I think everybody should realize, is you're either going to be vaccinated or you're going to be immune through this, through going through it. But
vaccination is not going to even happen for at least.
But even if you quarantine yourself, once we let people back out, it'll start up again. There'll be more cases. If we spoke about this during the pre-show where it seems that the warm weather might not make this go away, then we're kind of fucking screwed, because you can quarantine people all you want. It's not going to go away completely. Something and somebody will always have it. And then it'll come back out and it'll start spreading again. So all of us listening to this is we're going to stay healthy and not get it until we get a vaccine, or we're just going to catch the cold and have to ride it out and be sick. And then we'll be fine on the other side. We'll be immune to it.
But if everybody catches the cold,
there is no quarantine people, then we get back out and it's not going around. No.
But Rick, but here's the problem with that. If you just let it, everyone just run normal life and just everyone let's get sick, the hospitals can't support that. There's people right now that having to have surgery, heart surgery to remove a cancer thing, and they don't have enough fucking hospital beds for all these fucking people. So if there's a big rush to the hospitals, which is probably going to happen in the next 2 weeks, there's probably going to be a huge rush to the hospital. Where are they going to put all these fucking people? We don't have enough hospitals. Again, comparing us to China, you can't do that. China was throwing up hospitals overnight because their government does what the fuck they want. Their government will tell 100 people, look, you, here's money. You build a hospital tonight that's ready for tomorrow. We don't have that shit here. We cannot do that. We don't have the manpower to do that. And that's our problem. We're not a manufacturing society here. So if all these people, if we just let everyone get sick at the same time and, shoot up and then level out like China, then, so many people are going to die. There's going to be people dying left and right in your house that they can't get rid of. So that's the problem. These hospitals cannot withstand this, bro. This is going to get ugly quick. So we have to quarantine people. We have to keep people away. If everyone just avoided each other, if you have to go to the post office, you have to go pick up food, whatever, or the grocery store, wear a mask, wash your hands, don't touch anything, disinfect everything, then we could get this shit solved. We could, we would eventually solve this. But if everyone just fucking rushes out and doesn't change their life and goes to spring break like these fucking kids and spreads this shit, our hospitals in 2 weeks, that's it, bro. We're done. We're done. It's a humanitarian crisis that cities cannot handle. Does that make sense? Do you agree?
We don't act like this about the flu every season. All I'm saying is we definitely take some precautions. Wear a face mask, wash your hands, do all of this thing, but try to live as close to your normal life as you possibly can. And just again protect yourself. We'll get a vaccine soon enough, but let's try to keep the economy moving. Get out there and provide those services or provide those products, and then go and use those services and use those products, and shop local and do everything you can to keep us moving. This really bad cold that's really easy to catch should not have collapsed the world economy, or at least maybe in my mind, the way I envisioned us, things going this badly, I thought it'd be something a lot worse than this.
I think me and you, Rick, if we got it, it would be like a cold or a flu. But from what we've seen, from a lot of people who are getting it, okay, who are not healthy, this is 10 times worse than the flu. The death rates are 10 times higher, more than 10 times higher than the flu. The death rate from the flu is like 0.1%. The death rate from this, among the at least 60, 70 and older, we talked about this on the podcast, it's 12, 15%, bro. The flu is 0.1%. This is 12, 15%. This is way worse than the flu. But if me and you got it, we would probably be fine. We could just sit home for a week or two. We'd be fine. But that's the problem. You have to be hospitalized in a lot of these cases. Me and you may have to get hospitalized if we got it, because your body just can't handle it. You won't be able to breathe. It's a respiratory thing. So, so we'll talk about the economy in a second. I know you want to kind of talk about it more, but tell us though, let's get away from the bad news and tell us about some of the good news. You said that there was a possibility that we do have some hope with a virus vaccine. What did you find out today?
So apparently both the US and China both have vaccines in human trials. And there are also two drugs that are used for different diseases, for malaria, one of them. And one of them is called chloroquine. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's chloroquine, probably chloroquine. And it's been used already. Clinical trials, about 130 patients demonstrated the drug's ability to reduce the severity of the illness. I'm reading right off of Bloomberg.com. And speed up virus clearance, according to China's Ministry of Science and Technology. So chloroquine phosphate was officially recommended February 19th in the COVID-19 treatment guidelines published by China's National Health Commission. So this drug apparently seems to be working for treating it, and we have two vaccines on the way. I think we'll be just fine. So the U.S. is testing one, and China's testing another. When
will this happen, bro? I've heard 1 year to 18 months. When's the soonest this can happen?
It could be a year. We could have a.
Okay. So we'll suffer for this year, and then next year there'll be a vaccine, just like a flu vaccine, where people can go get. But the question is, are they going to be able to provide it to people affordably?
I'm sure they will, bro. I'm pretty sure something will happen. Just like the flu vaccine, something will happen.
I mean, the flu vaccine doesn't cost very much, $20-$30 maybe. But I mean, this vaccine, hopefully it only costs $20-$30. But again,
it's probably going to have to come in cheaper than that.
Do you take the flu vaccine every year?
Not really, man.
Yeah, me either. I don't. If you work in the medical field and you're around sick people, it's a good idea to get it. But I have not gotten the flu in a long time. So
I do something I don't advise anybody to do, but whenever I feel something coming on, I take a cocktail of different drugs, and it makes it go away within a night. I sweat it all out in the night. But I'm pretty sure it's not healthy long-term practice. You want to just ride it out, let your immune system fight it, spar a little bit, and gain some experience so you can level up for the boss fights. But I don't quite do that. I kind of stop it in its tracks. It's probably not the best idea. And I don't know what I would do if I got this. If I would follow that protocol, or if I would just let me ride it out. I don't know. But chances are I try my Droz cocktail and see if that works out. But yeah, it's probably not the best practice. That's why I don't ever talk about it or tell people what I use. But it's been doing that for the last decade now. I haven't had a cold or been in bed sick more than a day or two.
All right, so let's talk about the economy. We're seeing a new low again, stock market new low, and the market was going to open up today 900 points up. It was looking really, really good. And then the market opens and it rolled over. So basically, any uptick on the market, and I talked to Rick about this a few days ago. I told him, Rick, any uptick in the market, short it, and that's been basically the strategy, because it's easy money, just short any pop in the market, because really this is gonna be bad. So I hate to bring it up, man. Rick's really upset about this, but Goldman Sachs actually came out with their GDP forecast for the second quarter, and they already dropped it to negative 5%. So Rick, what's the new number from Goldman Sachs? Negative 5% is a pretty deep drop, and technically a recession is 2 straight quarters of negative growth. But I think we can be safe to assume 1 quarter of -5. I think we can consider that a recession, pretty deep recession. So what do you think the new number is, Rick, that Goldman came out with today?
I don't know. I want to hear it. I have no idea.
You're not going to like it. 24%, minus 24%. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So basically that's pretty much a depression. It's a depression. So we're going to have a sharp decline second quarter. The new claims, unemployment claims, jumped this week from 222 claims, which is about, average in a good, a mediocre economy. We have like a mediocre economy here. It jumped to 290 this week. And next week, it's going to expect it to jump to 1.7 million in 1 week. So that's another really shock number that's going to come out. So we have to see if that number goes even higher. I also saw something today that United Airlines said if they don't get bailed out ASAP, they will be laying off 50,000 employees by the end of this month. So, United Airlines is a pretty big airline, one of the bigger airlines, maybe the biggest airline, I believe. Not in terms of market cap, but in terms of size. I know they were 5 years ago. I'm not sure if they are today, but I'm pretty sure they are. So if they're laying off,
I've had so many experiences with late flights
from United. Yeah,
I try to avoid them.
Well, American sucks too.
I like American.
Really?
American. Better than United, I do.
Yeah.
I like American and JetBlue better than United.
JetBlue is the best. I love JetBlue. American, their planes are fucking filthy and old, aren't they? They use those old Boeing 757s, 767s. I like those JetBlues. Oh my god, they're so nice.
They're usually always on time. Staff is nice. Price is right. I like it. It's nice. They have Wi-Fi.
What about Copa Airlines?
Some of those foreign airlines do a really good job. Avianca,
yeah, they're good. I never taken it.
Foreign airlines, Avianca does an incredible job. Turkish Airlines does an incredible job.
Yeah, I heard Alitalia is like the worst one. That's an Italian airline.
I think there was an airline called the Monarch that I took one time from like France to the Netherlands, and that was real sketchy. It's like a really short flight, and it was something else. So yeah, there's some airlines out there that are really kind of sketchy.
Yeah, JetBlue is my favorite. I would never take Spirit. Spirit's like a shitty, cheap ass airline.
I've been on Spirit maybe once or twice. I don't do it. I try to fly American or
Spirit wasn't good. Spirit wasn't good.
Wasn't feeling it. I don't like it when
what's wrong with it.
Whenever they're late, especially for international travel, it can mess things up with when it comes to getting through immigration stuff with the other country. becomes a real issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Because they schedule the immigration staff around the planes coming in, and if they're late, then you end up going behind other flights, or sometimes you miss your connection flight, which really sucks.
Yeah, that's a big problem. If you're connecting and they're late, then you'll.
If you have a one-shot flight, like you're doing one-shot, Spirit should be just all right. But if you're connecting, that's why I stay away from United and Spirit, because a lot of missed flights, a lot of delays through customs because of late flights.
Yeah. So back to the economy, guys. So if we shrink 24%, Goldman, they're really good at forecasting. So, but I mean, they may drop that even further. They dropped it from 5 to 24. If that happens, we're looking at a lot of people who are laid off, especially in the tourism industry, and a lot of these hotels and airlines and theme parks and stuff. Disney's actually doing a good job. I'm always hard on these corporate companies because I hate corporate socialism, but I do have to give Disney credit because they are paying their employees while they're closed. So I do give them props for that. And if other companies were to do that, we would get through this with a lot less minimal damage. But instead, these companies got their hand out and they want handouts. So these fucking CEOs, they fucking have yachts and 14-bedroom houses, and they make millions of dollars in fucking stock options and all this stuff, but they can't fucking, but they need a fucking handout. Like, why don't they fucking sell their fucking yacht and fucking, spread the money among their employees?
I think you're being a player hater, Steve.
I am being a player here. You're a corporate elitist. You're a corporate elitist,
Not
sir.
Not by far.
I was messing with you.
Yeah, I think the salary gap between the top and the bottom people has grown way too much.
I think everyone out there agrees. Now, if you don't agree, that's fine. But I think everyone agrees, if you're going to get a handout from the government, if you're going to get, bailed out by the government, you need to fucking have your salary capped. And that's something they're working on in Congress. Like, they're going to have to probably bail out these airlines. They will have to bail out these airlines. But the caveat is, the CEO, you're not going to be able to make $10 million a year in salary and stock. Okay? If we're going to bail you out with taxpayer dollars, you're not going to be able to make all that money. Okay? So, and plus, another thing, these restaurants, okay, restaurant is a boom or bust industry. It's a cyclical industry. So you start a restaurant, you got to know that if shit goes bad, all it could take is a bad review in the newspaper. It could take the health department shutting your restaurant down because you have roaches, any little thing like that, and you're done as a restaurant. Clubs, bars, all that shit. It's cyclical. They open, they close. They open, they close. So any downturn, you got to expect that this is a possibility. So I got a problem with that too, bailing out restaurants. Because the employees that work there, they'll be fine. Okay, Americans are too fucking lazy to cook, and Americans love to eat out. So that will come back. So if you're out of work temporarily, that will come back. Okay, that's fine. But a restaurant owner to stick his hand out and be like, yeah, I need a bailout from the government. No, I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. So those are the things that, that we need to do as an economy. It's not going to benefit the economy to have these companies. Another thing, to stock buybacks. Why are these companies buying back stock? Starbucks announced a few days ago they're buying back stock. What? Are you fucking serious? You're going to buy back stock and then lay off thousands of employees? Are you fucking kidding me right now? This is disgraceful what's going on in this fucking country. The way these companies just want to line their pockets and they want to fuck their employees like that. That's bullshit. Why are you buying back stock? And the thing is, they bought back stock and the stock keeps dropping. So now their company's underwater in their stock. So that's more money. They're screwing shareholders too doing that. So, this is ridiculous. We're not going to recover as fast after this drop if they don't do this shit right. They better get this shit right, bro. Back in 08, 09, they did a damn good job of getting it right. And we came roaring back. But if they fuck this up this time, we're not coming back. We're gonna be like Japan. We're gonna have an L-shaped recovery, and it's not gonna be fun. So they better do this shit right this time. This is
so this would be like the what? Like the second, third bailout in 15 years?
They bailed out the airlines after 9/11. That was a big thing. Also, we were coming off the tech bubble. So that was a double whammy. And then in 08, 09, we had the real estate crash. So they bailed out the banks. And then this time, it's going to be another bailout. So why are we bailing out companies every 10 years? Something is wrong with the system that we have to bail out companies every 10 years. And then companies that behave recklessly, they're buying back stock high, buy back stock, instead of taking care of their employees. If they would have taken that money instead of buying back stock and inflating the stock market and taking care of their employees, all these people who are out of work right now would have more money in their pocket. Call me crazy, but I think that makes more sense than buying back your own stock at the high, because that's what these companies were doing with this extra cash they had, and or saving that cash and then using that cash in the downturn right now to do what Disney is doing. And I give props to Disney, which is still taking care of your employees and paying them while you are closed. So if we don't do this shit right, bro, this is going to keep happening over and over again. And maybe 3 years from now, it'll be Ebola, like you said earlier. And this shit's going to happen all over again. So we gotta fix this shit, bro. We cannot end up like Japan. We cannot end up like Europe. Japan is an L-shaped recovery. They've been in a recession since the late 80s. Remember when everything was made in Japan in the 80s? Now nothing is made in Japan except cars. And then Europe, all their shit's nationalized now because
samurai swords they still make over there.
Yep. Well, Europe tried capitalism and it failed miserably over and over and over, just like it's failing miserably here over and over and over. So now they nationalize their shit. So, they finally decide, hey, fuck this. We're sick of bailing out the banks every 5 years. Let's just nationalize the banks. So that's what they did. But we're going to end up having to do that here, bro. I mean, enough is enough. Every fucking 10 years, we have to bail these people out. And these CEOs are making millions and millions of dollars, and they have yachts and all this shit. Something's wrong, man.
Exciting times for sure. A lot of stuff is going to change. A lot of things are going to change. We're going to look back a year from now and realize this was the year where everything changed.
But we got to do it right, because if really, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I don't see things changing. I think they're going to bail them out, and the same shit's going to repeat itself again. The companies are going to get bailed out. CEOs are going to keep making millions. CEOs are going to keep buying back stock. It's just going to keep repeating over and over again. And the thing is, like these stocks, if there's these caveats that are put in place, the stocks will be almost worthless in the end. They're not going to just come back. That's the misnomer that I keep hearing from people. I know people that refinanced their house recently to put money in the stock market. That's really? Pretty stupid. Yeah, wow. Yes, I do. Because they actually think the stocks are gonna have a V-shaped recovery. They don't realize these stocks are gonna be worthless. Because what's gonna happen is these stocks are going to go into bankruptcy protection, or they're going to get government bailouts. So there's gonna be caveats where they can't buy back their own stock and all these rules. So that's gonna depress the stock, for the foreseeable future. Like if you bought Citigroup during the 08-09 crash, you're not making money right now, even after that entire run up, because Citi, they devalue their stock so much, they reverse split, they did all this stuff. So the stock right now, you wouldn't have made money over the past 10 years in it. You would not, you'd be break even or probably losing money. So that's what's going to happen. So anyone who buys stock now, even if we have this crazy recovery, it roars back like it did before, your stock is still going to be worth shit for those reasons. So don't think that you can just refinance your house and put your money in the stock market and make it all back, because you may get lucky. There may be one or two stocks out of like 50 that actually roar back and you end up being a genius. But for the most part, it's probably not going to happen. At least not yet. You'd have to get the stocks a lot cheaper to make it worth your while. So yeah, that's just, that's my opinion, guys.
Blood on the streets.
Word on the streets, bro. But yeah, if we get a 24% pullback in GDP, and to answer your question, what I think is going to happen, you're going to see a lot of companies going out of business. You're going to see a lot of people having to go on, food stamps and Medicaid and all this stuff. So it's going to be a disaster for the economy, bro. This is going to get ugly. The question is, we drop 24. Do we come back the next quarter and do we start growing again, or do we come back like at minus 10% and then kind of crawl back? So that's the question. It just depends on this virus.
It seems like the fundamentals, the foundation for the economy was already a little bit sketchy to begin with before this thing hit.
Yes, it was.
A lot of things were just kind of not where they needed to be. They were really, really bad. So
it was getting covered up. It was getting covered up because the stock market kept going up, and a lot of people felt good. Their 401ks were going up. So it kind of got, it was kind of misleading, I would say. It got talked up a lot, let's put it that way, because the stock market. Everyone was bragging about Tesla. Tesla went all the way up to almost 1,000 a share. People were bragging, "Oh, I got Tesla." Yeah, now it's 60% lower than that. So,
And also, this problem exposed the real faults, like the real core issues with a globalized economy this way, because once things shut down, we don't make shit anymore in the US. Everything is now made in China. And whenever there's a big problem or something like this, we need them every step of the way for everything. So
we need each other too. We're a service-based economy. That's the problem. If people aren't going out there and spending money, everything comes to a halt. That's the way a service-based capitalist economy works. Is you buy shit in bulk and you sell it. You buy shit in bulk and you sell it, and then they buy shit from you back. On and on. That's how it works, and you keep that shit grinding. But when that shit stops, then we get a 24% GDP drop. And it's
going to be interesting to see what the recovery looks like, how long it takes.
Yeah, we're going to see. Well, remember a week ago, Goldman said it'd be 5%. Now they changed it to 24%. So next week it could be more.
Yeah, next week they could say 30 something for sure.
Once the unemployment numbers start coming out, then that's going to be scary, because we're talking about
things. I'm even worried for us, for need to build muscle production. Who knows if we end up running out of product? There's a couple of problems. Obviously, Chinese are just getting back to work, and a lot of stuff is backed up. They do provide a lot of plastic and ingredients and things like that. And now there's a huge swarm of locusts tearing through Africa, and we purchase a lot of African herbs for our products.
Oh shit!
Yeah, bro.
Man, the earth is fucking.
So we
getting revenge, man.
I'm worried about, Fedosia, and worried about some raw materials that we get from there being eaten up by these locusts. These locusts are eating our PCT herbs, guys. So.
Yeah, but I mean, things will come back, bro.
I triggered production way ahead of the curve, way ahead than I normally would for all of our products. But still, it's scary to think that in a few months from now, I'll be completely out of product. I'll be unable to sell anything to my customers, even if the demand is there. But the ingredients don't exist. Harvests have been eaten up. Chinese suppliers are backed up. Things run dry. It'll eventually come around and get to me, get to everybody, get to all of us.
Well, something can be done, like literally this weekend. There's one thing that can be done, and it's President Trump. He can control this in 2 seconds. He can announce that he's suspending the tariffs. That will.
You got faith in the president, Steve?
I'm apolitical, sir. I'm apolitical, but I'm saying
I thought you were a hippie commie scum.
Huh? I'm a member of FARC. I'm a member of FARC.
You're FARC.
Listen, if Trump this weekend, all he has to do is just announce.
Hopefully he comes through. Yeah, man.
But he said he would not a few days ago, but he likes to change his mind on a lot of stuff. So if he comes out this weekend and says, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm suspending tariffs because of the coronavirus. That will, Monday, the stock market will shoot up like 2,000 points. And that will help a lot of these companies who have a lot of stock. That'll help a lot of funds, a lot of this will help. And that will kind of free up a lot of the markets you're talking about. That will get China going. That will pent up demand. So that will help big time if he did that. So, if he's listening to this podcast, he likes to listen. He likes to watch a lot of TV and listen to radio, I heard. Dude, suspend the fucking tariffs this fucking weekend. This will make a huge fucking difference. The economy will go from shrinking 24% to shrinking only 15 or 20% if he just did the tariff thing. That's all he has to do, and he has 100% control over it. He does not need Congress or anything. So that's what he can do this weekend. So let's see if he does it. Maybe he will.
For a minute there, I thought you were like going to say something nice about the president, but it's just part of your leftist agenda to try to get China, try to help China get.
Well, you're a corporate socialist, sir. You're for these companies giving these ultra salaries to CEOs.
I just said we should give the money to the people, and I think
now you want to give it to the people.
I said give the money to the people, and look, they're going to have to bail out airlines because we need airlines. I mean, it's bottom line. We need them. So they're going to have to do something.
You need them because you need to get back to the United States.
I really do, bro. I need to get back.
You're going to end up you're going to end up bicycling or motorcycling up here, and then the FARC will kidnap you.
See, that's bicycle across. That's Che Guevara did that. You see, I knew you were just.
You're going to get kidnapped, bro, if you do that. They're going to kidnap your ass. And then I'm going to show them this podcast. And then they're going to fucking keep you as a hostage. Then they're going to want money out of me. They're going to be like, send us $10 million or we're fucking beheading
Next thing I'll find out you were never from Lebanon. You've been a Russian this whole time. There he goes, man. So, I don't even participate in politics at all. I make fun of both sides, but I think politics makes you pick a side and ignore what's wrong with your side and nitpick at the other side when it's all fucking corrupt and they're all scumbags anyway on both sides. And it's just, they're in it to make money, most of them, and self-gain. It becomes just a job. They just go in there to make money and don't really care. So,
yeah, two things I don't get involved in: religion and politics.
I don't
religion and politics.
That stuff. But it's funny. I like making fun of people.
I have views on both, but I don't discuss it ever because that's how wars start. So.
Yeah, neither do I. I think it'll piss people off to the podcast if they think we're on either side. I'm really not. I mean, I don't like talking about it. But as far as we're discussing helping the people with cutting people a check. Yeah, why not? Hit it.
Yeah. So
even if I'm a capitalist and free market guy, hey, it's emergency. Let's help some people out. Cut people a check.
Well, another thing too, guys, just like in the real estate bubble, how many people bought homes cheap after the real estate bubble? Really, really cheap. And now they got tons of equity in their house. That's a good thing. So this time, there's going to be a lot of companies that get in trouble, and you can buy these companies pennies on the dollar. Like these gyms. If you ever dreamed of buying a gym, but you're like, fuck, I can't afford it. It's too fucking expensive. This is your opportunity now. A lot of these landlords, they're going to have extra space for a gym, and they're going to be desperate. You can sign a fucking 5-year contract cheap, 1-year contract, 2-year contract with these landlords and get a good deal. So this is
I think we're all most of Americans are just too extended out on credit. I'm watching this thing unroll, and I'm like, just a lot of people are fucked up on credit and living beyond their means, and they just don't want to realize it.
It's not just people, Rick. It's companies.
People, and those companies go out of business, and then their employees are also living beyond their means. People have crazy credit card debt. And when you have a small crisis like this, or you lose your job or something bad happens, it throws everything for a spin. It messes everything up. You're going to see a lot of more things like this that are going to disrupt the economy. I mean, when was the last time, Steve, that an actual virus like a sickness, a cold, disrupted the world economy.
I remember SARS. I remember.
Did it mess the world economy up?
Not at all. No, not at all. No, the Spanish flu back in the
Spanish flu influenza. Did that have an
Spanish
effect
flu?
on the economy?
Yeah, it did. It was a big deal back then.
So it's been a while, and it could.
But I mean, the H1N1 was just like a joke. Like it just came up. Like the media barely talked about it, and it went away. This has been crazy.
And I think as of today, that one actually had more deaths than coronavirus did. Total. I mean, we'll see where the numbers stand once Corona's finished with us. But apparently, that H1N1 had more deaths and more cases overall before it ended than Corona has so far.
Yeah, you're right about the debt, but the corporate debt. Like I'll give you an example. Boeing. We all know Boeing. They have $10 billion of cash on hand, but they have $28 billion of debt. So that's the problem. Like these companies got so carried away with debt because interest rates are so low. The problem is now that Boeing, obviously, all their customers, which are the airlines, are going under. They're fucked. So that's a perfect example of just letting these, letting the debt get out of control and not being able now to pay back your debt. And
at the same time that we're realizing that we're kind of screwed up, not having anything made in the U.S. and completely relying on everything being made outside and being imported. We're really realizing that's a real problem right now.
And all their, CEO and CFO, you can look this up. They all made $10 million last year, stock and salary, $10 million each, but they want to bail out. So, that's the way it is, man. It's a fucked up world, man. It really is. So,
yeah.
All right.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, it'll be a good lesson for a lot of people not to live beyond their means, not to have crazy.
We thought that lesson happened in 08, 09. It didn't. I mean, human beings are so fucking greedy and stupid that we keep getting ourselves in that. Back in 2000, remember the tech bubble? Everyone was buying stock. Everyone was buying all these stocks and tech companies with like one employee, and they buy the stock for it. The company had no revenues and like one or two employees, and credit's too
cards and long ass credit. Then
credit's too easy to get, bro. Credit is too fucking easy to get. That's the thing. Anyone can get a car loan, for example. Anyone can get a car loan.
Yeah, and like when you get a car loan, you're paying interest on that loan, so that car is a lot more expensive. And then every year, that metal box goes down in value anyway. So you're losing out double. I mean, I don't know. I never buy a car unless it's 3-4 years old and it's dropped in value already. I don't care. It's just not that important.
Yeah, it's a bad investment.
But for some people, it's really important to flex in a badass automobile, and they'll get in debt, up to their eyeballs for it. Sometimes something like this happens. This disrupts the economy, disrupts things. Yeah, and they're out their jobs and.
But blame marketing, bro, for that. Because you ever see a car commercial, they always make it look like it's the best thing ever. Blah, blah, blah.
It'll be a good time if you got cash on hand, it'll be a good time to buy a car now. It'll be a good time to buy a house now. Now it'll be a great time.
About 1 or 2 months. Let's wait till the 24% GDP crash.
A couple of months, and then it'll be a good time to buy a home. And
absolutely.
And if you were humble enough to just hold on to your cash and wait and live very modest until the day, now you'll be able to get a good home. Same thing with your car. If you drove a hoopty and you just kept cash on hand, now there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot of cheap cars on the market.
Yep. All right, guys, we got to wrap this up, guys. We're way over time. For Stevesmi and Rick, we'll talk to you guys next week. Hopefully we'll have a better news for you.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys. Take care, everybody out there.